And now, prepare for Oblation Comics Live with your host and co-host, Vinny and Christina Arbiter. All right. Welcome back to Oblation Comics Live. I am your host, Vinny, and this is my co-host, Christina Abicella. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I just want to check one more time. My audio, it's okay this time, right?
Yes, it's A1.
Okay. All right,
100%.
I'm loud. You can hear me. It's not fuzzy. Everything's good?
Yes.
What do you got there on your poster? What's that back there? You have one small little poster on your wall. What is that?
Oh, that's the basketball anime.
The basketball anime.
Yeah, I got it from work. I haven't even watched that. It's like Kuro.
Is this because you heard what happened to me? Are you making fun of me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me get ahead of this real quick because I know all these videos are going around right now on TikTok and Instagram or whatever. So let me just set the record straight, Christina. I did not lose basketball to an old man in his 70s or whatever, okay? Now, yes, he was 78. He did say that, but let's be honest, like with modern medicine, like 78 isn't really that old. You know, I wouldn't call him an old man being 78. And also people were saying that like Melvin was blind. But if you listen to the video, he specifically says that he's only blind in one eye. He's got cataracts in one eye, and his other eye, he could see shapes and colors and stuff. So he's not blind. Okay, so that's debunked. And not for nothing, though, if you really think about it, if you can only see shapes and colors and you're playing basketball, what color is the ball? It's bright orange, right? The rim is bright orange. So if you think about it,
go dark red.
Dark red, whatever. We played with a bright orange ball, but listen, it's like playing basketball with Daredevil. You know what I mean? Like he can see just what he needs to see, you know, and then he can score. And on top of that, he only won by 2 points. All right, the score was 2-0. So anyway, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Wait, actually.
Oh, you didn't see the video?
No.
All right, never mind. Then take everything back. So we have a great show for you guys planned today. So let me back up here. There was not much that came out in comic book world. So I didn't read much comic books. I did read one. I read the Absolute Batman annual. It's mired in controversy. We might be able to talk about that later, but it's just everyone's talking about it. We might talk about it, but I think it's old news because we do this on Wednesday, so we can only talk about what happened last week. We don't know what's coming out this week. But so we can talk about it later. However, there's a few things that I did need to talk about, Christina. I created, your friend, created a brand new literary genre. Can you believe that?
What's it called?
Well, hold on. I can't just get right into it. I need to build it up. All right. So, yes, I will repeat myself. I created a brand new literary genre. And so it's Arbiter. Okay, that's the story that I'm writing. Guys, if you're watching this and you haven't backed Arbiter, I don't have it pulled up yet. I will later on in the show because this is going to be a good plug. It's a brand new literary genre. So I was trying to wrap my head around how do I pitch this, because pitching it is actually it's hard. You know, like what I know the story, but how do I convey it to other people? What is it about and all that kind of stuff. So I was working with something along the lines of like it's a neo-noir kind of supernatural thriller, urban fantasy, like it's those things, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like it's got grit, it's got like moral complexity, it's got supernatural elements like arbiters and breakers and fifth dimension, all that kind of stuff. and a lot. But like that's a mouthful, right? I don't want to have to say that every time, you know. And really, that's what it comes down to, is me just being lazy and not wanting to explain everything. So I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So what I developed here, and this is groundbreaking, this is brilliant, okay, is a new genre called mythic. Think about that. Okay, that's the genre title, is mythic. And how I define it, I'll define it in a sentence, and then I'll explain it a little bit more. How this is separate from other genres like science fiction, supernatural, and all that kind of stuff. So the core concept from mythic actually comes from I draw inspiration from like Homer, Shakespeare, biblical narratives, and the Arbiter blends like the natural with the supernatural. So like in a sentence, what mythic genre does is it's the collision between otherworldly or divine realms with our physical realm, metaphysical, whatever. It's the intersection and collision between those two worlds. That's what the one sentence definition of the core concept of what the mythic genre is. Okay, so I say it's new, but really, Christina, it's very, very old, because if you ever read the Iliad, for example, what that does is you have the Mount Olympus, you have the gods, right? Zeus, Athena, and all that kind of stuff, directly influencing the war on the ground, the Trojans and the Achaeans. And then the Trojans and Achaeans are also influencing what's going on in Olympus. There's a connection there. The Iliad, their Divine Comedy, Dante's Divine Comedy.
The hand.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it could be otherworldly. It could be, spirit. So like the Christmas Carol is another example. You know, Scrooge is visited by these three ghosts, and then they influence, and they changes his destiny based off of that.
Christmas Carol has had a feature every episode.
I know, I do, huh? I don't know. I like Charles Dickens. You know what it is? I'm still reading the ghost stories, so I have him on my mind. Which, by the way, I could recap, because our last week's episode I had to delete. I was so upset about that, Christina, because of my stupid mic, which again I hope is loud and everyone can hear me. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so anyway, so that's the mythic genre that I've developed here, or rebranded. What do you think about that so far? Because I got more to talk about, but what do you think about it so far?
So it's mythic.
Yes, mythic. Mythic.
So it's like straight up like mythic, like mythical.
Well, it's a shot. Like,
are you just using the name?
I'm just using the name. So like it's so instead of writing fantasy, right? Like the core premise of fantasy are like worlds built around magic systems. You can have mythical creatures in fantasy, but it's imagined realms built around like magic systems. That's the core premise of fantasy. In science fiction, for example, the core premise of science fiction would be worlds built around science and technology, rational speculation, all that kind of stuff. That's the core premise of science fiction. The core premise of mythic would be human stories like you and me, but framed by cosmic or divine realities. Like the supernatural meets the natural. Like they at the intersection, right? So like the tone and themes, for example, for like for fantasy, typically are heroic quests, good versus evil. It's wonder and escapism. Whereas like science fiction would be exploration of progress, ethics, and the consequences of technology and all that kind of stuff. Whereas like the mythic would be symbolic, be moral struggles, eternal truths, and how they shape realities. Right. Again, and you can go back to a lot of the classics, but also there's modern stories that would categorize as mythic. So like Matrix, for example. Matrix is. Have you watched the movie? I'm sure you've seen it.
Is that the one with the black suits?
Just say yeah. For the people at home, because Matrix is like a huge movie. Yeah. So let me explain it real quick. So Matrix is the core premise is basically we live in the Matrix. This is like kind of artificial programming, and then you can escape this, and the reality, the actual real reality, is like apocalyptic. We're kind of just plugged into these machines, and we dream all this stuff pretty much. But when we're unplugged, the machines are like taking over. We're kind of in hiding. There's a big war between man and machine. And so what we're experiencing now is just pretty much simulation. And everyone's kind of plugged into this world. And so Neo, the main character, is the chosen one to like defeat the machines in the real world. You know, so they unplug him and he's thrusted into this world. That's mythic storytelling, right? You have these two worlds colliding.
Not sci-fi.
No, I mean, there's elements of sci-fi to it, sure, but the idea, remember, the core premise of mythic is this supernatural world or this science fiction world, whatever, colliding with our reality, and they intersect. That's
Okay.
the core premise. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, and so like fantasy would imagine worlds of magic, science fiction imagines worlds of science, mythic imagines worlds where the eternal and the temporal collide, right? Giving human struggles cosmic like weight and grandeur. That's mythic storytelling.
Okay.
And
so,
go ahead.
When will it be in the dictionary?
I already wrote it in. It's already there.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, so I developed an FAQ. Okay, because I'm actually gonna put this in my comic book at the end of my comic book. I'm gonna put in an FAQ. And so I developed like these questions from like my critics, my imagined critics who don't know me yet, but will. Some queries that they might have with this new mythic genre. All right. You may be one of them, Christina. So let me address all of your worries from this. Okay.
Okay.
The first question that my critics might pose, okay, might be, isn't mythic just fantasy or supernatural by another name? That's a great question. No, let me answer that directly. No. While mythic, I'm reading off of my typed up script here. While mythic shares elements of those genres, it's distinct in its purpose and scope. That sounds pretty professional, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy focuses on magic systems and imagined worlds. Supernatural centers around ghosts, spirits, and horror. Mythic is about eternal truths colliding with human lives. Stories where cosmic realities shape personal destinies, like Paradise Lost or The Matrix. Not just dragons and haunted houses. I wrote that in. I thought that was a little cheeky. All right, so that answers that question. Myth debunked. All right, next one isn't mythic too vague or pretentious? Mythic is clear when defined modern epics with natural and eternal intersect. So, like, again, we don't read Homer's Iliad. Like, there's no like new epic poems, right? The last one was like Paradise Lost. But I'm pulling from, because that's what I love. I love classic literature. I love that kind of stuff. So I'm actually pulling from that well, but bringing it into a modern setting. Okay. So that's what mythic is. So it's not about being lofty. It's not about giving readers it's lost or whatever. It's about giving readers a lens for stories that explore identity, morality, transcendence in a way that feels like timeless, like you're reading Homer's Iliad. You know. Here's another one. Isn't mythic just a marketing gimmick? I felt that one here. No, and here's why. Genres evolve, right? You know, cyberpunk? That used to be brand new. Someone created that, right? There was a time before cyberpunk, and now we have it. Now there's time after. There's like magical realism. That was once new. So mythic formalizes a storytelling approach that has existed for centuries, but just lacked a modern label that I'm giving it.
So how did cyberpunk get popular? Like,
it was people just gravitated. Like, so I think originally, and I could be wrong on this, but I think originally it was a tabletop game like Dungeons and Dragons. You had cyberpunk, and that kind of was brand new. It's never been done before. That kind of style of futurism was a unique thing. And then that just became, people gravitated to it, and it became very popular. Like, that was a cool style. So mythic, is new as cyberpunk once was new. But
So-
genres evolve.
And you're starting to spread the word of Mythic through your comic book.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to have this FAQ in my comic book so people can adjust their sense. Because, like, if you're reading Arbiter, you might think that this is just a superhero book. If you're reading Arbiter, you might think this is just supernatural. And so you're reading with a lens of, like, okay, am I supposed to be scared? Like, when I read this, like, I'll be monsters, demons. Like, is this a horror? Like, what am I reading? So I'm built this really to readjust the reader, his mindset or her mindset, that is like, okay, this is something totally different. There's no comic book. Well, actually, there is. Sandman would actually be a mythic comic. Hellboy would be kind of a mythic storytelling. But like, this is not something that is just, I could put this superhero story. There might be superhero elements in it, but it's not a superhero story. You know, so this is why I'm doing this. So no, it's not a marketing gimmick. Get out of here with that criticism. Here's another one.
There's the door.
There's the door. Go past that basketball poster.
Yeah.
Won't this be too niche? That's what I'm people hearing. But no, I don't believe it is, because many beloved works, I might add, like the Sandman, like Hellboy, even the Green Knight, Gawain and the Green Knight, they are inherently mythic. Audience crave stories with depth and cosmic stakes. They just haven't had a name until now. Thank you. You're welcome. And then the last one I got here is, will casual readers feel alienated? Mythic doesn't mean inaccessible. Okay. The stories are grounded in human struggles, like love, loss, redemption, while offering a sense of wonder and meaning. If you enjoy The Matrix, Hellboy, you already love mythic storytelling. You already love it. So that's that. That's going to be in my comic book. It made the cut. And so, yeah, so that's what I developed. Now, here's what's going to happen. I am going to die broke and in debt. And then 2 generations from now, they're going to be like, Vinny was a genius of his time. He's the Shakespeare of his generation. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, about the second part. But so anyway, that is mythic. That is mythic storytelling, and I'm excited about it. I mean, I think it's cool because, again, it's a long history of this. It's been done brilliantly and well a long time ago, and I'm just giving it a name now. So, like, when people, because if you ever go to like Barnes and Noble, right? If you go to a bookstore, imagine seeing like a mythic section and then having, like, instead of just everything being classics, right? There's actually a defined term of like, hey, this is this style of storytelling. I think that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. So, like, you need like a decent amount of media to get the.
This is it, baby. This is it. Look, yeah. Oblation Comics Live.
Oblation Comics. Spread the word.
Yeah. Share this. Yeah, like and subscribe. How about that? Comment below. What do you guys think about mythic storytelling? Is it awesome? Write it down how awesome it is in the comments. So anyway, that was my big thing this week, but not the only big thing this week, Christina. I read. Have you ever? I mean, you know Tolkien, right? Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's one of my heroes. Again, I draw a lot of inspiration from him as a person, but also his writings. So I was at my church service on Sunday, and my priest, he's a big Tolkien fan as well, was telling me about a book that I've never read before by Tolkien called Leaf, Leaf, Leaf by Niggle, Niggle. It's a short story. I know, I have to. It's a real book, It's a short story, very short. So I read it past few days on my Kindle, and it was great. So a little bit about Tolkien. He is famously, he does not like what's the word? My mind just went blank. Allegory. Sorry, he famously does not like allegory. In fact, he wrote letters to C.S. Lewis, who's another one who I draw a lot of inspiration from, back and forth about how he liked Chronicles of Narnia, but he didn't like how heavy it was allegorically, so they had like a lot of letters back and forth. Anyway, so he didn't like allegory. However, he wrote this book that is all allegory. This was before he wrote Lord of the Rings. So if you read his letters, he says that he wrote this book because he had a dream about this. And so then he had to just write it. And again, it's a short story, Leaf by Niggle. And I'll tell you a little bit about what it's about. Okay, so Niggle was a painter. Okay, and this is an allegory for Tolkien, the writer. He's telling you about him. But instead of being a writer, he's a painter. So he's a painter who his biggest dream is to create this like magnificent, beautiful painting of this like magnificent tree. So like he's got this canvas that's like he needs a ladder to get to the top of. It's like this huge thing, but he only manages to paint like individual leaves with like tremendous detail because he's constantly interrupted by everyday obligations. Right? His neighbor. He has to take care of his neighbor because his name is Parrish, who's often needs help. So he gives charity. He's got daily obligations, and so Niggle feels torn between his like artistic calling, that where he feels alive, he feels joy, he feels like he's living when he paints, but also the demands of charity and his responsibility. So he procrastinates, and he actually never finishes his masterpiece. Matter of fact, he gets ill, and he's called on a journey, which is a metaphor for death. But when he dies or goes on this journey, they actually use that big canvas with these leaves on it as to patch up his neighbor's roof. So it's a very
that's weird.
It's very sad, very defeating. But then he goes on this journey, right? And he leaves this unfinished painting behind, feeling obviously regret and anxiety. And his journey is like uncomfortable and it's a little difficult. And this is all symbolism because, again, he's a Catholic, so he believes in purgatory. And so he's like passing through purgatory to heaven, the afterlife, to this new country. So when Niggle arrives in this like bleak institution, which is purgatory, he must perform like hard labor. And the stage kind of represents like his purification. Again, that's what purgatory is. So he learns humility, he learns patience, he learns service, and his selfishness and his obsession with art is like tempered by acts of charity and reflection. But then he goes to the country, to heaven, right? And after he leaves the workhouse, he goes to this beautiful country, and when he's there, he finds his tree. It's fully grown, it's real, it's not just a painting, and it's more beautiful and magnificent than he could ever even imagine. Like, this is what he envisioned and so much more. Like, this is his tree. And it's like what Tolkien is trying to do is he symbolizes the fulfillment of his creative vision in eternity, right? Suggesting that like what his desire that God gave him has its perfection in heaven and a real thing, right? And so the best part of this, though, is that he's satisfied. He sees it. It's better than he could ever have imagined. It's real. It's there. And so then he moves on. He leaves the tree behind for others to enjoy, and he moves on to do other things, and so it was just like a beautiful story of Tolkien's struggle. Like this, again, it's all allegory for him. So like a little bit about Tolkien is he's notorious for rewriting, being a perfectionist, struggling, being torn between this mythic world of Lord of the Rings, languages, like he was so focused and determined, where when he wrote this before, this actually allowed him to finish Lord of the Rings. We're like, listen, my fulfillment of this, of my creativity, will be in eternity. So I can finish this now,
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I read this and it kind of just spoke to me in like a very deep way. And I don't know. I just figured I'd talk a little bit about it because it was really.
What's that called? What was it called again? I
Leaf?
remember Niggle.
Yeah, Leaf. Leaf.
Leaf.
Leaf by Niggle. And again, it's a short read. It's by Tolkien. But
I think
yeah.
every artist should read that because I could relate to it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And that's like, it made me let something go. Like in my own like life, in my own work and doing this. I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful. So he coined a phrase, as I myself coined mythic as a genre. He coined a phrase called a eucatastrophe. So you know what a catastrophe is, right? A devastating event that changes everything. So a eucatastrophe, again, the word Eucharist is in that. Eucatastrophe is a dramatic shift for hope, for something good. So he coined this phrase, and it's in Lord of the Rings. It's in a lot of his works, which also, by the way, I don't know, like ironically, see, Tolkien died before his works were finished. Right? He finished Lord of the Rings, he finished The Hobbit, but the Silmarillion he never finished. You know, and there's a lot of other works that he just never finished. So this was like really about his life. But he believed in what he called a eucatastrophe, is where there's a point, a moment where everything changes, but for the better instead of for the worse. And so obviously when Christ entered our world, that was the eucatastrophe of you know, us, of the world, of our reality. When Niggle saw his tree, right? Because remember, he died without finishing it, and he has that burden and that anxiety. When he saw the tree, that was the eucatastrophe that changed everything. And so I love that. I didn't know that there was a word for that. I know that he coined that. I read that through his letters. And so that's kind of what I write in my books too. There's always something, a eucatastrophe that happens that turns things for the better, you know, where you seem like it's going to be a catastrophe, but something just shifts and actually lifts you up. It's like Dante descending into hell, but then moving up into the eucatastrophe, into paradise. So anyway.
Would you actually say that like in conversation?
No, eucatastrophe. Oh, in this conversation I did. But I mean, I could, like, nobody reads anymore, unfortunately, Christina. So it's like, it's hard to like talk about with other than you, and you know, some other people from my church. Like, hey, I read this book. They're like, I always get like, oh, you
read a book.
Yeah, I know. And it's not to be like, you know, disparaging on them, but like, we don't live in a society of reading anymore. Everything's viewing. You know, that's what we do. Like, our news, we don't read newspapers. Like, if we watch it, you know, care about the news at all, it's through, you know, whatever viewing stream or source, whatever, shows. Like, we don't read books. We wait till the movie comes out to watch the, you know, it's just like, we don't live in a reading society anymore. We used to. And I think it's to our own detriment, honestly. But I don't, you know, there's nothing wrong about watching. Like, this is a good transition to, I watched anime, Christina. I watched anime. Well, I watched two different animes. I watched Dan to Dan.
Okay.
And then I watched Solo Leveling based off of your recommendations. And, well, not just yours, many other recommendations. But they said this is really, really good. Now, is Solo Leveling considered an anime? Because I think it's technically Korean. Is it an anime that's supposed to be Japanese?
I think it's an anime. I think anything animated.
Anything animated?
Anything animated that isn't American.
Okay. I don't know. Whatever.
Because I feel like American, you just call it cartoon, you know?
Yeah. I hear you. Well,
but I think it's from Japan. I think you're right.
So, I watched both of these, and
I knew you weren't gonna like the first season. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I should say I did watch both seasons of Dan to Dan. I pushed through it. I had to fast forward some things, but I did push through it. And I only watched one season of Solo Leveling so far. I do plan on watching the second one just to say I did it. But all right, here are my thoughts, and everyone's gonna get mad at me. But so I just preference the whole first half an hour of the show was so people don't get mad at me because they know what I like now. Everything that I just said.
But I told you that the second season is what matters.
Okay. Well, I'm holding my judgment. I'll wait till the second season. However, I will say it is like pure, unbridled, like power fantasy. It's like
yeah, I agree
like
with that.
both of them, and I think this is just modern anime or modern Eastern cartoon, whatever you want to call it.
That's a good one.
Is primarily just power fantasy, where you like there's just structure of story is just you have like the weakest loser nobody likes. He's kind of become the greatest, most powerful that ever. It's just like there's no personality, there's no like character, and like and so leveling the dude just straight up murders like real people. Granted, yeah, they were bad, but like he's not heroic.
You have to watch the second one.
I will, but
I didn't even like the first season. I feel like it was very cliche.
It was, but in like a way that's like I don't like any of the characters. Like they're all kind of have no personality except for like I guess the original leader. I don't remember any of their names, but like the guy who lost his arm in the first episode, like he had the most personality out of everyone in the cast. Who like I don't know. He's like the old man. I liked him, but yeah, everyone was kind of just like a one note kind of character. And then in Dan to Dan, if we can shift gears here, that one was even more so of just like.
I'm so surprised you didn't watch that.
Yeah, I know. I skipped some parts because there was a lot of fan service in that series, so I kind of like fast forward a little bit. But again, what they all had in common was great animation. Like the fighting scenes, the animation, the art was all very well done. The voice acting was okay. I mean, they're like the dude's monotone, more monotone than I am, and I think I'm pretty monotone. But
in which one?
In Solo Leveling.
I had to watch it dubbed. So.
Yeah, that's how I watched it.
Oh, you watched it dubbed? Is it only dubbed? Because
I'm not sure. That's the only way that I watch it. I think it's got to be subbed.
I usually watch it sub. So.
Yeah, is that what most people do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the voice acting is different. I watched the English voice acting, and yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was nothing great. It was nothing terrible. And yeah, those were the things that I liked about it. It was the action, the fighting sequence. So Solo Leveling was pretty brutal. So I asked you a question: is this real life or is this video game? And no one could answer it. It's real life. That's the answer. It's so basically what happened is, if I can give a quick premise for those of you that did not watch Solo Leveling, okay, the premise of the first season is there's portals that open up in our world. Like if you're going to work, okay, you're driving to work, boom, a portal opens up, and then everything shuts down, and you have to wait. And at the same time that this entered our reality, these people like you and me are awakened to be these hunters. They're the ones that can go into these portals and kill monsters, right? It's not everyone who's like that. It's just some people are awakened to that abilities, right? So people still are firefighters, people still are policemen, people still are teachers. Some people are hunters now. And so that's their job. That's how they get money. So they go into these dungeons, these portals. They defeat whatever's monster is causing the portal open, the boss, and then they collect their loot and they leave and they sell it and they get money. That's what happens. So they're real people that have blood and guts and die in real life. But a select few, like a 1% of 1%, get reborn when they die. And that's what happens to the main character. He's the weakest hunter that dies and then comes back as has super abilities that he can level up and become stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's what he does.
I think that was just him, though.
So the Reawakens, they don't have that too?
Oh, no, they do have Reawakened. Is Reawakens when someone dies? Because I think the only example was the main character.
Yeah, they said that in the show that it happens to like a very, very, very small. That's why like the agency is kind of like looking for people like that, you know. But again, that's the first season. Maybe in the second season or the further whatever. Which I don't think I'm gonna watch the second season, and maybe that will make me continue. But
Yes,
after the
I
second
think
season,
next week you should tell me how the
Okay.
second season was.
By the way, that description that I just gave about the show is the best description that I've ever gotten from anybody about that show. So if you're interested, just clip that and just send it around, because I don't think anybody can explain that show. At least nobody did to me. So that's that. Dan to Dan, you're on your own. I don't know how to explain that show. It's like a fever dream. Basically, this loser kid he has to have autism. And I don't mean to say disparagingly, but he's anyway. Nobody likes him. He has no confidence or whatever. But he loves, or he believes, UFOs and like extraterrestrials. You know, whatever, he loves that kind of stuff. And then this girl who's kind of popular, she like believes in ghosts, and so they have a bet. You go here, you'll meet an alien. You go here, you'll meet a ghost or whatever. And so they do, and they get these powers. The UFO kid gets like spirit powers, yokai powers, and then the girl gets like psychic alien powers. And they kind of just, the first two seasons of them building the cast. So like another person gets powers and they become part of the group, and then another person gets powers, they become part of the group. And then like the end of the last season, you have another person who gets like, he's like big into like robots and like Gundams and stuff like that. And he's like another loser kid. And then like there's a big kaiju that comes in, and
not you being into it.
I love Gundam, the original Gundam, but I'm not. I won't go there. Anyway, so he awakens to like be this pilot to this giant Gundam, and it's all just, again, it's fantasy. There's a lot of fan service in it, so there's that. Hard to recommend to anyone under the age of like, I don't know, 18, I guess. I don't know, but
who recommended you that?
Huh?
Who told you that you should watch it?
So I go to the comic book shop every week, and I have a friend there who runs it, and he recommended that to me when he said it was like, he defined it as it was yokai defending the world against alien invasion, which they keep mentioning that in certain episodes, but that's not the plot.
They never did.
No, like they mentioned like this, which to me that's kind of interesting. I'd watch that, but maybe at some point they'll get to that. They're still kind of building the cast and the relationships between them. There's like a love triangle and all kind of high school drama, which is fine if you're into that. But I was expecting, something a little bit more different.
I have to say, I hate a lot of animes now. They just like build the cast for like a bunch of like, can something happen?
Yeah, and that's kind of what it felt like. It's like so there was a few episodes that were standout episodes in Dan to Dan, which, in all honesty, was like a high point where I couldn't say in the first season of Solo Leveling there was no like standout episode, except for the last one where he gets his like spoiler alert, his necromancy powers. That was pretty cool.
Know what came onto Netflix?
What?
World Trigger.
Oh, you told me about that a while back. Did you like that?
Way back. I read the comic the manga way back.
Did you like it?
I started it again.
Oh, okay.
The anime.
So what all of this has done to me is this made me want to watch classic animes. Because like I loved like Full Metal Alchemist. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay, that is like a 10 out of 10. That is a really great show.
It looks like Bleach.
No, it's not like Bleach. Full Metal Alchemist is about two brothers. It's hard to explain. It's been a while, but basically it's about this. Two brothers. So alchemy is like the magic of that world, where like they say in every episode, you need an equal exchange. So like you could create anything you want with like magic, alchemy, math circle, basically, as long as you have an equivalent exchange. And so these two young kids who are like prodigies in alchemy, their mother dies, and they try. This is all in the first episode, so it's not really spoilers, and it's an old show. So they try to bring her back with alchemy and try to give an equal exchange. What happens is the younger brother loses his soul or loses his body, and so the older brother has to attach his soul to like a metal suit of armor, and then the older brother loses his arm and leg, so he's got a metal arm and a metal leg after this, and the mother comes back as like a monstrous like zombie kind of thing for a few seconds and then dies again. And so that's like starts everything off. And so then these two brothers kind of go on this journey to find the sorcerer's stone, which that is like pretty much a magical item in the show where you don't need an equivalent exchange. You can just use that, sorcerer's stone. I think that's what it's called. And then it's basically just like magic. And so they go on a journey to bring their mother back using the sorcerer's stone because they don't
see. That's a story.
Exactly.
I feel like this,
exactly.
Like I like Solo Leveling because it was like extremely like power, like fighting, and that I like the art and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I like the art and fighting, but storylines are like not.
I know it's all
happening
power
right now.
I know. So anyway, and there's a lot of classic animes that are like that. That I like. Cowboy Bebop is another one. I really like that one. That you don't really get that anymore these days because the focus
There's
is on
manga, but like anime is coming out. Like I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few that I'm still interested in reading. There's probably like 5 that are on my radar, but yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't think it's for me. At least the newer stuff, the modern stuff, isn't. I don't think it's for me because all the emphasis is on the action. It's on the power levels, and to me, I need a better story in order to get better characters. And like, especially in Full Metal Alchemist, the personality of these two kids, man, like, so the whole series ends in a movie. And I'm not even going to lie, dude. I was like tearing up at the end of the movie. I'm like, it was like such a great ending that it was like, it was beautiful. It was really, really good. So I highly recommend. That's like a 10 out of 10 show. Yu Yu Hakusho is another classic, great anime. That's about tournament, basically. Except for the last season. Last season was kind of a dud because of like production issues. It wasn't like bad. It was just anyway. But that's my kind of rant. Classic anime was really entertaining and fun. Modern
Captain
anime.
Tsubasa,
Oh yeah.
The soccer one.
Okay. I was thinking of what was that one that I lent you.
Oh my gosh, that's what
was
I
that
named
one?
my PS1 after.
Yeah.
It was like
Tsubasa Chronicle. That's what it was.
Chronicles.
Yeah. And then it was like Sauron was the main character, which is a cool name.
That was good for a little bit.
That was good for probably the first 2, maybe even 3/4 of the story. And then the last quarter, last 25%, it just completely lost me. And it's funny because I tried reading that through 2 times. Like once, like back when I was in high school, and I stopped at the same point. And then when I introduced it to you, again, I tried reading through the whole thing, and I stopped at the same point. I'm like, I couldn't get past the vampire stuff. I was like, this.
Yeah, no, I stopped too there. It was good though.
It was, yeah, it was very good. But anyway, so that's my rant. So I talked this whole show, Christina. What have you read or watched or anything you've enjoyed this week?
Well, I was rewatching World Trigger, which was a throwback.
Well, tell me about that. I don't know anything about it.
So it was like, the thing is, the anime, I can already tell there's filler episodes, and like the first manga was like so different. I think I actually have it next to me, but it was so different. So I'm not like probably gonna watch it anymore.
So wait, the manga was a lot different than the anime?
Yeah, at least the yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
not the usual, right? Usually.
No, I just think it was a little filler.
Okay.
Bit
I
of
got
filler.
I understand.
And then I got I think I'm gonna try to get this like art commission, so that's fun.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what it might be?
Yeah, it's for like this business. It's like on their wall.
Oh, okay. Are you like actually you're painting it?
Yeah, if I get the commission, I have to do a drawing.
Okay, that's very cool.
See if it gets approved.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, we have a little bit of time left, so we could do one of two things here. First, let me pull something up real quick. All right. I am going to share my screen. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So just a quick plug. Again, Arbiter, we talked about this in the beginning. Brand, I'm going to update this to actually include the mythic genre that I just opened up with. But yeah, so Arbiter, it's my comic book that I'm writing in the mythic genre. Again, it's a cosmic noir comic about our fractured reality, ancient guardians, and the last man standing between us and oblivion. This is a new thing. It blends other genres together, but it's completely different in and of itself. This is only going to be $5 for a digital copy, $8 plus shipping for a physical, and then we got other perks here. So we are 57% funded. Our goal is 5,000. We're close, not close enough yet, but we did unlock the first perk of this cool Arbiter logo sticker. So everyone who backs I have to adjust this, it is unlocked. But everyone who backs a physical copy gets a free logo sticker. And then we're working our way towards the bookmark for the goal is 3,500. And if this gets unlocked, then everybody will also get a free bookmark. So a lot of fun stuff. You can check out some of the art, really great art here by Denio. And yeah, that is my plug. It's at fundmycomic.com/arbiter. And I hope you guys are interested and go back it. Now, we're going to end the last, I guess 10 minutes here in some controversial stuff. Christina, you ready? So, Absolute Batman. Absolute Batman. Have you read any of it?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay. What's
at the comic shop?
Okay. Did you was you read the first issue, or do you know what
first
issue?
I think it was the first issue.
So now a lot of people like it, and I'm one of them. It's a good series. If you like Batman, this is just Batman dialed up to 100. Whatever version of Batman you like. If you like the detective Batman, this is times 100. If you like the brutality of Batman, this is dialed up to 100. Whatever, it's just Batman dialed up to the nth degree. And it's been entertaining. Scott Snyder's writing it. Dragotta is doing the art on, I think, most of the series. And it's all a new take. It's a new take on his cast, new take on him, and all that kind of stuff. Now, the controversy is they just had a Batman annual come out. After 13 issues, they have an annual of most series. And Daniel Warren Johnson wrote and did the drawings for it. Do you know where I'm going? You have any idea what it's about?
No. What?
Oh, okay. So now I like Daniel Warren Johnson. He is the one who did the new Transformers, the first 2 volumes.
Oh yeah.
And I think he's a great writer. He's a good artist as well. It's very fluid, good motion. So he did Absolute Batman, and So all right. How do I frame this? So it's very political because Daniel Warren Johnson is a political person, I guess, in his personal life. He likes politics. And so he had Absolute Batman. This is before he became Absolute Batman. So this is his early years. He was traveling. I forget what town it was, but basically it's Batman versus white supremacists. And so
Oh.
it's like, it's just like, it wasn't offensive to me. I mean, I'm not a white supremacist, but it like the people that write this call everyone like white like it's a word that just doesn't mean anything anymore, unfortunately, because like, you know, it's like anything. If you put everything in your refrigerator, label it rat poison, just label everything rat, the chances of you actually drinking rat poison like skyrockets because like if everything's labeled rat poison, like if you have rat poison in your refrigerator for whatever reason, right? And you label everything rat poison, the chances of you drinking it like so if you call everyone a word, whether it be Nazi, white supremacist, or whatever it might be, you're labeling everything with that label, and so like loses that meaning, like, and things can like skyrocket. And so like you have all these people defending like things that are indefensible because of it, and it's like it's ridiculous to me, like sitting on the outside. Like the comic itself was entertaining, but like everyone's kind of talking past each other, like he's calling me a white supremacist. Like no, he's not calling you a white supremacist. It's writing a story about like really bad people doing things to like immigrants, you know, like which happens, right? Like that's a thing that does happen, but like people are taking it personally. And he's like, why does he do, you know, a different type of person? Like, oh, whatever. So anyway, it's been very controversial. I read it. It was fine. Like it wasn't groundbreaking. It was a fine comic book. But like people are like really upset about it. And then, and it was
Did
very
it like read as pointed?
Yeah.
I feel like right now, why would you do that?
That's exactly my point. It's like, dude, like, why do you even want this kind of attention? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just not. And what point are you making? Like, you know what I mean? It was silly on all sides. But like, if you're trying to make news, you know, that's I guess one way to do it. But like, it was very, very brutal too, like cartoonishly brutal, like almost like like not Flintstones, like Looney Tunes, where like like there's panels, which I don't have it physically, but they're like panels where like Batman's fist is like the size of like the Incredible Hulk, right? And he's like smashing in somebody's face, like his face just like crumples, you know.
Ugh.
But it's like he's not dead. Like Batman's like killing people, even if it was like drawn in like a not cartoonish style, you'd be like, yeah, Batman's killing these people. But it's like drawn in like Looney Tunes, like where it's like kind of like cartoonish, and you're like, and then there's one where like he like breaks like the leader of like this white supremacist group or whatever, he like breaks his arm, and it's pretty brutal. But I mean, listen, it wasn't like offensive. It was very on the nose. Obviously, it wasn't like something that I'm like kind of like rolled my eyes like really, but it was a fine comic book. I read it, and it was like there was one character in it who was a priest who were like he was like a good guy, which it was nice to see at least some kind of good representation of like, you know, he was like trying to help people and like heal, even though the people were bad. Like Batman demolished them, and he was there trying to like mend their wounds. And Batman's like, "Why are you doing this?" And it's because you have your way, I have my way, kind of thing. And it was like, at least there was, you know, a good representation of someone doing something good. But I don't know. I wouldn't have wrote it, but it's there and it's controversial, and I understand why it's controversial.
It's just at this moment,
right?
Like there's so many villains you could have.
I know.
So many things that could go on.
Yeah,
and it was just political.
I mean, I guess that's who he is. So I didn't pick up. There was none of that in Transformers, which is why I think it was so jarring. Because like I'm caught up on Transformers right now, and there's not a scent of any kind of politics in Transformers. It was just like, Optimus Prime, the best he's been in a long time, like the Autobot. Like it was a really great story. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, he went all out on this one, I guess.
I mean, Captain America, I feel like comics have always been political,
Yeah, I mean, to a degree. Yeah, but I don't know. It was fine. It is what it is, I guess. But yeah, so a lot of people are dropping the book. What's up?
You read it though, like fully.
Yeah. Well, so there were other stories in it too. That was just like the main one.
Gotcha.
There was like, because the annuals usually they're extra long, and the other ones weren't, like, it was kind of very similar, I guess. I don't know. That was the one that I think stood out because it was the longer story, and I don't know. David Warren Johnson is a bigger name, but yeah, that was the I think the only comic book. Oh no, actually, I read Aquaman too. Aquaman is a sleeper hit. I'm not gonna lie. That's one of the top
Really?
5. One of the top 5 DC comics coming out right now is Aquaman, and the latest issue, he basically becomes like a god. It's so Jeremy Adams is writing it, and he's a really, really great writer. And yeah, it's been very entertaining. It's been fun. The art's been good. Yeah, Aquaman, sleeper hit, good stuff.
So the recent volume was good. Recent one.
Yeah, so I think Aquaman is on issue 15. So 1 through 15 of this new run has been really, really good. Basically, the basic premise is that Aquaman. Are you familiar with like Swamp Thing and like the green? Okay, so like he's like the champion of the green, all nature life on Earth. He's like the champion. So like they introduced the blue now, where it's like all water and sea life or whatever. And Aquaman basically becomes the champion of the blue. And so he can command, like, so his original ability, which is kind of laughable. He can like talk to fish and like, hey, can you help me out? And the fish would have to like agree. Like, yeah, okay, I'll help you with this one. Like he can't command fish, but he can like ask for help with certain things. Anyway, that was his original ability, and he can swim really fast. So since then, now this Aquaman, he can command water like Mera, his wife, but he can also, he's like a part of the ocean in the world. Like he can sense things across the world in the ocean. He can command the water.
That's insane.
He's pretty much like a god now, with his new ability, being the champion of the blue. And it was pretty cool. The whole story leading up to it was fun. And so I'm curious to see where it goes, if he like retains that power. Because if he does, I mean, he's super OP at this point. Like, he's like, he took a punch. So like in the last issue, Superman, I don't know what's going on with Superman, but he was like corrupted by something, and he's like taken down
as per usual.
And I think it was like
easily corruptible.
Well, because it's
easily manipulated.
All right, whatever. So anyway, Superman punches Arthur Curry, Aquaman, and he just takes it. He's like, bam, like and like a full force punch from Superman, and then everyone's like, did he just eat that punch? Like, yeah, he just ate that punch. Like, that's crazy. And then I don't know, he gets over it or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Aquaman's been fun. So if you're interested, it's a good series to check out. Jeremy Adams. Well, with that being said, Christina, I hate to say it, but it is time. It is time to go. I have to go to work. I'm going to be late.
Real life. Oh, no.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
But it's been wonderful. Guys, go back Arbiter. You could follow me and Christina. We have our links in the description below. Also, please like, subscribe, share this with people who would be interested. Back Arbiter, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Until next week, I'll catch you guys later. All right.